Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to ActivTrades Monday Market Matters webinar. What we're looking to cover on, as always, we'll give you a welcome to Monday Market Matters by having a look at the news that will be coming down the news wires this week for us. We'll talk a little bit about fractals themselves, and I'll talk a little bit about how we can use them in our trading and how they can help us as traders with both our analysis and our trading decisions. We'll also talk about, how can we start our trading week with a fractal-based setup. So I will share that with you, just a very simple way just to start the week, which is kind of useful for us. Here we are on a Monday. And then, as always, what we'll do is we'll switch across and check on the live markets. Once again, as always, kind of interesting to know, those of you joining us for the live session here today, do you know what a fractal is? Do you understand how it's made? And do you understand what it actually brings to us? If you understand, put it in the chat box. If you're not, if you're new to the trading journey, that's absolutely fine. That's what these sessions are here to help you in terms of help you be the best trader you possibly can be as you move forward in your own trading journey. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Paul. Traded for many years, traded for funds, traded for clients. Primarily, I look to trade FX indices and commodities as a trend trader for swing and position trades and as a mean reversion and reversal trader for intraday traders. So lots of that which will all benefit when we come to talk about utilizing fractals and also how to utilize them at the start of your trading week. So I appreciate that we have a lot of people at join us from, not only a truly global audience, but also what we do also have is people at various stages on their trading journey, from those right at the start of it to those of you who've been trading for a good while. And so there's always something here on the Monday Market Matters webinar that you're able to take away and utilize to make yourself a better trader tomorrow. So every Monday at 2 o'clock, what we do is we take a look at the news coming for the week ahead. We have a main element on education, which, as I say, is about fractals today. We always have a look at the ActivTrades platforms and tools, and then also a look at the live markets as we start the US session in about 25 minutes time, as we get a grasp on what we can see for the first session of the US week. And of course, it's it's an interesting week this week because it's a curtailed week. So there's lots of data coming out as we're about to talk about, but equally also we have a shortened week because of the American Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday. Those of you who join us every week or have joined us over the year will know I always talk about how if you are a new trader at the start of your journey, I don't expect you to be able to do in-depth economic analysis, but it is important for you to know when the big major news is coming out, and the way you do that is through an economic calendar. There is an economic calendar on the ActivTrades website that you can access, and there are ones elsewhere as well also, so there's no excuse not to have an understanding of when that data is coming out, because what we see, of course, is that when the news data is released, that can induce volatility into markets, and volatility is a double-edged sword for traders. If you're on the right side of it, it's the wind in your sails. If you're on the wrong side of it, it can make your trading session challenging. So it is vitally important to know, what data is coming out and when that data is coming out itself. So today, Monday's generally quiet, and there's just a little bit of German sentiment news there. What we also have is then basically on Tuesday, we will have US consumer confidence that will be coming out there. And then probably Wednesday is the kind of the sort of the bigger day here that we've got, in that we'll have Australian CPI there, inflation. We'll also have the Royal Bank of New Zealand with their monetary policy statement, and what we're expecting is perhaps to see a large cut there at the New Zealand market rate. Okay, and estimates are there talking about how a forecast to sort of maybe even a 0.5% rate cut. That is quite significant for the FX market, so traders will be keeping an eye on that to see how that particularly plays out. Wednesday afternoon, and when I say Wednesday afternoon here for us in the UK and Western Europe, but early morning for the US, we have GDP data on Wednesday. And we also have PCE, Personal Consumer Expenditure Index data will come out. And then in our evening, in European evening, we will have the FOMC meeting minutes coming out. as well. So Wednesday will be, quite a full-on day. There's quite a lot of data coming out, but then of course we have the US Thanksgiving on Thursday, and then into their Black Friday on the day. But on the Thursday, we are getting also some German data, and also having the Australian. We also have the Australian Royal Bank of Australia speaking, and then we have some Chinese data on Friday. So it's a week to keep on top of the news flow. It's a week to understand that we might see periods of spikes and volatility around news, but also there will be people positioning themselves for not only for the Thanksgiving, but also, as we have seen as we've come into this week, that as people position themselves based upon the release over the weekend of the Mr. Trump, the president-elect, his choice for the US Secretary of Treasury, and that will have that has had an impact, which we'll look at in a moment, and will undoubtedly have an impact on markets over the next day or two as well. So an interesting week. Okay, so let's have a little look at some of our educational elements and, what we can take away. And as I said, we're going to talk about using the fractal in terms of price action trading, and also in terms of how you could use it to start your week. Now, very often what I find is that, of course, new traders, they want to sort of capture the start of every new trend, and are keen to find out a way to do that. The reality is that it is very hard to capture the start of every new trend. To think that you can do that in your trading career is somewhat naive and somewhat challenging. But the thing is, you don't have to capture the start of every new trend. Okay, you don't have to capture the start. It's just being in a position to capture a part of a good trend is your job as a trader. But what we are looking to do is to see, well, what are the very clear, easy ways that we might be able to identify what might be a turning point that gives us the possibility of a start of a new trend. And so many traders, they like to look for very simple mechanical trade setups that allow them to engage with those markets. You can use fractals as part of a chaos theory setup as a simple way to join a trend. And what I'm going to share with you is we'll talk about fractals, but I'm also going to share with you a way to start the week, okay? A way for your Monday to start by utilizing the fractal indicator, and how we can use it as an indication of a possible turning point that might allow us to position ourselves for the start of a new trend on an intraday basis. So, as I said, I'm going to focus mostly there on the intraday side, but the concepts and the ideas, they're applicable to all instruments and timeframes. But I'm going to focus primarily on FX markets on the intraday basis, because that's where I do most of my own trading. So to begin with, I appreciate, as I said, some people are at the start of their journey, so they may not really understand what a fractal is, and certainly not what a fractal is in trading. So a fractal, as the slide says, a fractal is it's a natural phenomenon. All right, and it's whereby it exhibits a repeating pattern that displays at every scale. Okay, so a particular thing of a fern. All right, and what you can probably see here is that you have, maybe green wasn't the best choice of colors there, but hopefully you can see that basically we have bang, a small pattern there. It's like a small triangle pattern, okay, of which even one is built up smaller ones. The smaller ones that build up to bigger ones, which in itself build up to a bigger pattern though. So it is a natural phenomenon. It's a repeating pattern that displays at every scale of nature. And also, I'm going to show you where they are prevalent within financial markets, and being able to understand that can be just a helpful way to firstly identify ways to analyze markets, and also to recognize a change, okay, an inflection point, a point where things might have to change, and in that change, that might provide us with opportunity. So here we have a fractal, okay, and in particular, this is an up fractal. In markets, okay, in trading, a fractal is a 5-candle pattern, and an up fractal is, as it says, the high of the candle is higher than the 2 candles before and the 2 candles afterwards. So here you can see there's probably little applets there, okay, which I'll show you where you can find them on the ActivTrades platforms. But it's because this candle, the high of that candle was higher than the 2 before and it was higher than the two after. Now, just remember, this isn't confirmed until this candle closes. Well, just remember that. But what we have created there is a bit of a V shape, haven't we? It's a V shape there. Price, for whatever reason, has come up to this region and then been rejected away. And that is what has created that fractal. So take a moment to think, well, what must be there? Okay, what must be there that actually it rejected price so strongly away from that? Okay, what is sitting there that rejects it? Because once you start to think in those terms, you start to get an idea of not just a candle on a chart, but actually what it is telling us about a deeper level of understanding of who is operating in those particular markets. Norbert asks a good question. Is the term pivot point the same as a fractal? No, it's not, Norbert. A pivot point is normally part of an intraday. Well, I say intraday, but it's predominantly used intraday, okay, as part of a range of levels of support and resistance that initially pit traders used, okay, to identify levels of support and resistance, and the middle one was called the pivot point. A fractal is a very different phenomenon. Certainly, you might see price pivot, okay, as part of a fractal pivot, almost, as it shows here, 180% direction. But it is not the same thing. It's not the same definition. But good question. I'm very happy to help clarify these for you. You're very welcome, Norbert. Thanks for the question. But as I said, an up fractal is where we see that. The high is higher than the two before and the two after it, okay? And that is what creates an up fractal. So just as a starting point, just remember that. And not unsurprisingly, here we can see that a down fractal is where the low of the candle is lower than the two candles before and the two candles after. So in this case, you can see we've drawn it there, we've used the indicator, and that's because this low here was lower than the two before and is lower than the two afterwards. But remember what I say, okay, you have to wait for this second candle afterwards to complete to confirm that this is a fractal. Now, if I just clear these here, and what we see there is push, okay. Just think about what's happened is price has dropped and it has been rejected, and in this particular case, it was rejected very strongly. Price rose very highly from it. So then you start to ask questions, well, what is here? Okay, what is going on here that it was able to basically reject price so quick, in this case, so quickly and so strongly? And as I said, it's about not just looking at it as a candle pattern, which it is, but also understanding what is it telling me at a deeper level about the makeup of this particular market. So that's a down fractal, the opposite of an up fractal. Not terribly shocking that. Now, what we can see here, so this is it's just a chart, monthly chart of the dollar Canadian dollar. As I said, remember, a fractal is something like nature, replicates itself through every level of nature, and it will do the same through every instrument and every time frame. So you can see here, I've got it drawn on here using the indicator, and I'll show you where that is, okay? But what we can see is, hopefully, as you can see, that the ranges of basically up fractals and down fractals, and we can see particular levels. So, for example, I'm always start to be interested when I start to see fractals at particular levels, okay, that's just showing me that is kind of an indication of support there, okay? So that can help me in the same way when I see, fractals being created at levels of resistance. That helps me sort of just confirm that. When I start to see fractals, okay, in both sides of the market like that, it's confirming it's a channel, but it's also confirming that there's a good deal of volatility in that, okay? It's not like, for example, here where price is just basically working its way up. When I start to see lots of fractals in a trend, that's just giving me an indication that price is grinding higher. So they create, as I said, on all time frames and all instruments, and this is a monthly chart, and hopefully you can see there and start to get an idea and give a little bit of indication of, as I said, when you start to see fractals at particular levels, that's just helping you confirm that that there is a strength to that particular level under support. So if you are using the ActivTrades MetaTrader 5 or MetaTrader 4, you can find it here, pretty much the same place. We'll show you on the charts as well. Insert indicators. Bill Williams, who wrote the book on chaos theory, and he wrote a couple of books about trading, new trading dimensions, chaos theory. They're good books to read as part of your own, let's say, trading education. But underneath, you'll see fractals there as well. Okay, so you can have it on your charts. When we switch across the platform, you'll see I have them on my charts. They're actually very faint on my normal working chart. And that's just simply because I've used them for so many years. My eyes have that kind of cognitive recognition ability to sort of recognize fractals where I see them. But I appreciate at the start, you're just trying to grasp the concept and see how it plays out on a chart. And we're happy I'm happy to help you with that. So that's all well and good. I've shown you, how they are created, where they are in the on the charting package and what they do. But ultimately, we want to understand, well, what's so good about them? How can they help us as a trader? And as I was saying before, when I start to see clusters of them at certain levels, it provides more confirmation of the strength of that particular level. It can also help create channels and areas of consolidations. Those areas are watched by large institutions. And this is where it starts to get interesting for us. When they are broken, when they're finding those levels or those channels are broken, well, then something is happening, something is happening. And so what we want to do is it draws my attention, and I want to be ready to take advantage of whatever plays out from the price action. So with that in mind, ultimately, we're looking at how can I use them in trading? All right, how can I use them firstly as an analysis tool, but then also, well, what could I do to help me in terms of actually using them to help me with my overall trading? So as I kind of alluded to, one way you can do it is to help you with defining a range. Help you with defining range. So this is pound Swiss franc weekly chart, fractal. A fractal again is just a level there, but then what we see is we come back to it. We have another fractal here, another fractal here. That's supporting that level now. It also, that level was like a big round number, at 115. So you're just getting big round number with fractals, basically down fractals followed by up fractals. But you also had here, down fractal, down fractal, down fractal, which was supporting a level here, which was the big round number about 111 as well in pound Swiss. So they can help you define a range. Even here, earlier on in the move, we've got, bang, up fractal, up fractal, up fractal, down fractal, down fractal, down fractal, down fractal there, just helping, showing and confirming that we're in a range. So remember what I just said there. When those ranges, those levels are broken, that's when we start to become very interested. That's when we start to become very interested, which we'll look at in a moment. One of the other ways we can use is to basically also to have them to support trends, to support the trends that we might be working with and looking to develop. And here we go. Here's an example here. Once again, pound Swiss, but on the 4-hour chart, price is here is in a downtrend, and we can see fractal there, fractal there, fractal there, fractal there, which supports us in this trend line, but also once it's broken, that in itself, remember we're saying, is telling us something. But here on this kind of uptrend here, fractal here, fractal here, fractal here, fractal here, fractal here, fractal here. It's supporting us in that uptrend there, and then once again, once it is broken, that in itself is giving us confirmation that that trend is now over. So if we are trend traders, and we have fractal supporting us, well, that's fantastic. But also when they break, and that gives us an indication that that trend is over, and we might now want to have a little look at a different way to position ourselves. One of the other ways people use a fractal is as it can be a great place to provide a trailing stop. So in this particular case, once again, this is now the pound Swiss on the 1-hour chart. Price is actually, we can see is moving, and we can see that basically we have fractals here along the trend line, but also, if we are trading with the trend, well, we can see that basically, our fractals here, using those, as ways and means to trail our stop is a way for us to stay with a trend and be able to sort of try and surf that wave, or surf that trend as much as you possibly can until it's broken. And no trend goes on forever. No trend goes in a straight line. There's always an element of zig and zag, but For new traders, sometimes that can be helpful because it is quite a mechanical place. Rather than having to think or work out or consider where to trail their stop, even if you just trail it behind the, in this case, a down fractal when you're in an uptrend, or behind an up fractal when you're in a downtrend, that in itself can be a very simple mechanical way that you can use fractals to help you stay with strong trends and ride them for as long as you possibly can. So, as one very simple way, one very simple way that you can use, fractals to provide an entry, but also to do that. So, in an example where we have a clear trend, prices making higher highs, higher lows, we're in a very clear trend. What we can see is that price will retrace to the zone of the 20 and 50 period moving average. So, on my charts, I have a blue 20 and a red 50 period moving average. In an uptrend, when price completes a down fractal, enter long on the second candle close. Now, what does that actually mean, Paul? How can you do that? Let's clear this off. All right, so I want you to focus on this. In an uptrend, in an uptrend, when price completes a down fractal, enter long on the second candle close. So in this particular, let's go. This was a little bit clearer here. We've been in an uptrend. Price has retraced into between the 20 and 50 period moving average. It actually produces a very nice, initially, it's a bullish pin bar, which then becomes a bullish morning star. So you're getting lots of confirmation. And then when this candle closes, remember, this is the second candle close that confirms that this is the fractal low. This confirms as a fractal low. And what we can do is we can buy there. We'd buy that. And then invariably our stop loss would be beneath the low of that fractal. So clear trend, price retraces into that zone, in an uptrend, and you just reverse this for downtrend. When price completes that down fractal, remember, it's not confirmed it's a down fractal until there's the second candle close. And then, so long as the range between entry and exit is less than 1.2 ATR, all right, which I have here on there, average true range, well, then this is a trade to go. Your stop loss goes beneath the fractal low, and what we look to do is you can either target 2-to-1 reward to risk, or, as I said, you can use fractals. You can use the fractals to basically to stay with the trade. What that means is that when you're in a very strong trend, you have the opportunity to really do very well. You are literally just looking to trade a trend, but you are looking to buy the dip. You are looking to basically using fractals to buy the pullbacks. That's what you're looking to do. That's what you're looking to do as a trader. And this is using just fractals, just a simple way to do that. Just a nice almost mechanical way for you to achieve that. Now, of course, let me just clear these down here. Remember, what it's looking at is here is so long as the range between the entry and the exit is less than 1.2 ATR, you're good to trade. Because if we look here, just look at an earlier example. What we had here is we printed a low there. But actually the second candle completes up here. So the range between our entry and our stop loss is considerable. You can see that even with your eye, and was way outside the actual ATR. So even though that did what we wanted to do, you wouldn't be taking that trade just because of the size of the trade's risk between your entry and between where your stop loss is. That's why we have that rule in there, basically, that if it's less, so long as it has to be less than 1.2 ATR, that is your filter to basically to allow you to enter the trade. Stop loss between the low and the fractal, and to begin with, just target 2-to-1. 2-to-1 reward to risk. So there is a very simple, very mechanical, very fractal-based, method to enable you to take the trade, and to work with a good strong trend. So that is a way to basically run with the trend. That's a way to basically identify the opportunity to run with the trend, to basically to use fractals to identify your entry, where your stop loss is. So it becomes quite mechanical in the way you trade. And for many new traders, that is actually the best way for them. All right, it's the best way for them because it allows them to effectively to to remove subjectivity from your trading and actually just follow a very simple plan. And for many traders, a simple mechanical plan is actually the best thing for them in terms of being able to help them with the trading. So that is one way to trade with trends. What I'm going to show you is a little bit is a kind of a little bit more of an advanced one, all right? And this is how we can use fractals to help us with a possible reversal, all right? This is a kind of a reversal setup. It's based on the start of the week, so really, we're looking for this to trade in the Monday session. Now, I appreciate that I'm based in London, and so I'm looking at it from the London session, but actually equally, as we'll see today, when I look at today's setups, the setups in the Asian session, and sometimes the setups don't really occur until into the New York session. So there is an opportunity there, regardless of where you're based in the world, to utilize this, to trade this. And it's just a very simple way to use fractals on initially a 4-hour chart to help you identify possible small little moves at the start of the week that can basically get your trading week started. So what are we talking about here? All right, so it's as I said, based on the start of the week. We work off the 4-hour chart to begin with, and then we look to execute on lower time frames, okay, 30, 15, 5, based upon what we like to see. And it works on indices, commodities, and FX pairs. I focus mostly on FX pairs myself. That's my bread and butter. But what I'm really looking to do is see, is there a way for me to basically to generate a quick 2-to-1 reward to risk reversal intraday setup. And as I said, it uses fractals a great deal, and so it's a great little idea for me to share with you that I like to use, and helps me with my Monday view for both my analysis and also where the opportunities might lie for my trading. So let's go through it, shall we? Okay, so first setup, part one is, what I always am interested to see is just take a quick look at the weekly chart at the start of the week and find out, what was the price at the weekly open and project that level forward. Just draw it forward for the week. You can do it for the next day, but for the week as well, because sometimes this offers us a target, and it might also help as an indication of bias for the week ahead. So in this particular case, but it doesn't really matter what it is. Here, this is where the market opened. You can see the vertical line is where the period separators for the week. Here is where it opened, and just literally just projected, just drawn a line straight forward for the week. That's what particularly I'm interested in. Just starts to give me a little bit of bias and a little bit of an idea of where possible target might be for me when I go down to the lower time frames. The setup part two. Then switch to the 4-hour chart. Okay, once the 4-hour chart. And what we're interested in is once the first 4-hour candle of the week is completed, that's what we have to wait, well then we look left and identify the last up fractal and the last down fractal from the previous week. That's what we're particularly looking at. So this is the period separator. Okay, this is, we can look at this, market, this candle close. Now, admittedly, if you're one of our Asian guests joining us, well, then that's easy for you. For those of us, let's say in Europe, in the UK, this might be, you might be looking at this here, okay, at the sort of start of the London session. But what we're looking for is looking to identify, where's the last down fractal, okay, and project that forward, and then also where was the last up fractal, which was in this case, and project that forward. Okay, once identified, you draw a line and project that forward. Okay, where we were from the last fractal. Okay, the last up fractal, the last down fractal from last week. Project that forward. All right, and this is where we start to get interested to see what's occurring. What we're looking to see is we're waiting for C to price to basically to raid those levels identified off your 4-hour chart. One of the great things, okay, for you and to be able to use the ActivTrades platforms is you might actually even want to set alerts. All right, you can set alert at a level just in front of it, just so in case you don't have to be sat at your desk all day. You might have other things to do. You might have a job. You might be, you might be caring for a family. Okay, or you might be running a business, etc. And so being able to use the technology to help you might benefit you enormously. Once price raids those last fractal levels. Okay, once we see trading through that, we go down to the intraday timeframes to execute a possible reversal if there is one there. All right, so you're projecting forward the open from the weekly chart. You're going down to the 4-hour chart, and once the first candle's complete, then just looking to identify the previous week's up fractal and down fractal and project that forward. Once price trades through those levels, that's where we're going down, okay, to look at what's going on, to basically, can we execute a reversal? And this is where we're going down to the 30, the 15, the 5-minute chart, all right? As I said, once price has raided that previous week's level, we're looking for a reversal off that area. And we can use just the standard price action setup as triggers, things like false breakouts, rejection candles, price action patterns. They are all valid. If you don't know what a false breakout is, or rejection candles, or price action patterns, because you're right at the start of your journey, well then, please, by all means, go and look at the ActivTrades webinar archive, or go and have a look at the ActivTrades YouTube channel, and you will find plenty of examples of previous sessions where I've done specific sessions around those things, like false breakouts, rejection candles, price action patterns, combinations, etc. That will help give you an idea of that. Okay, so that's what we're looking to do with that. All right, and what we're interested to see is that once price has traded through those levels, that is where we start to get interested. So that was the open. This was the last fractal level, okay, and this is as we've gone down, and actually hopefully you can see here is we start to create a false breakout before price pushed up, okay, and it pushed all the way back up to the opening price of the week, which, as you might be able to see, okay, basically, the price reacts to it. All right, price recognizes and remembers it, and that in itself is a small trade. Okay, it's a small trade, but for many traders, that would be very nice to be able to operate in that manner at the start of the week. You will find that there might well be lots of trade setups. It may offer more than one entry. What I have found, okay, is that the trade will work quickly. Namely, if it fails quickly. Okay. Now, if you're new to trading, you might say, well, why do I want to know that? Well, no trading strategy is perfect. No trading strategy works all the time. You will have trade setups that fail. My view as an experienced trader is, if my trade's going to fail, I would sooner know that sooner rather than later, because as well as having financial capital, I will have emotional capital, and I basically, I don't want to burn that up and waste it. So if I'm wrong, I'd sooner know I'm wrong much quicker, because then I can move on to the next trade. All right. So what I found, as I said, is that when we come to these levels, if the price reverses nicely, it should work, but if it doesn't, it normally fails quite quickly, and that's fine. That I'm quite happy with that. No problem with that at all. Part 4 is, on the lower time frame chart. Once the trade triggers, okay, we place our trade. Stop loss goes behind the recent price action. Target either 2 to 1, ideally, or target the weekly opening price. Okay, as I said, that weekly opening price can become a bit of a magnet. As we can see, price can get drawn towards it. You get drawn towards it and then rejected, drawn towards it, rejected, and it created a fractal there, and then once it pushed away, it came back up to it as well. So that level is worth knowing. Very often you'll see me when I talk about particular trading setups. I will also always talk about the pros and cons. As I just said there before earlier, there is no such thing as a perfect trading setup. Okay, if anybody tries to tell you there is, then my advice would be not to listen to them. All right, it is a business. It is there are good trade setups, and there are good trade setups that might just fail, because that's just the nature. You're operating in huge, big, fluid, dynamic financial markets. So I always try and share the pros and the cons, just to be able to, people can make up their own decisions. So in terms of the pros for this kind of setup, this is very much, it's a high probability setup. It will happen every week. Okay, you might have to have a basket of charts to look at, and it can provide many opportunities. One of the The downside, okay, is that there's no specific time. And what I mean by that is I can't say that it happens at 8 o'clock every Monday morning, okay? It will happen at some point during the Monday session, but that could be from midnight to midnight, okay? That all depends upon the price action. What it does do is, it also requires monitoring of the markets. As I said, it doesn't happen at a specific time, which is why it's sometimes useful to set alerts on your charts for those particular fractal levels we're interested in. So you're in a position to go about, do your stuff, and then come back to it when you need to. And, the reversal might be weak in a strong trend if something has happened over the weekend. We've had a geopolitical input that has an effect on markets. Well, then what we might find is that basically we're in a strong downtrend, and actually it doesn't pull that move we want doesn't pull back as much as we want because we are in a very strong trend based upon what's gone on over the weekend itself. So, as I said, there's no such thing as perfection, right? It is about, can you see this? Could you recognize and understand how this sets up, why this sets up? And is it a possibility that you could add it into your, let's say, your trading armory of different tactics and strategies that you could utilize to help you start your your trading week? So just a few examples here. Now, this is on oil. Now, as I said, you can use it on indices and commodities. I tend to focus on FX myself, but you'll find that like everything, when it can work well. And so here's the example. This is the week open. Okay, the week has opened there. Okay, and once the first candle is completed, we're looking where's the down fractal. Okay, where was the up fractal, and then basically projecting it forwards. And what we can see here is when we go down to the 15-minute chart, okay, we came up to the level here, but we didn't really particularly put in great price action. We had to wait for it to test again. But then here, this candle here, later on in the day, that gave us a really nice, it's a bearish pin bar. It is also a false breakout because it broke through the level but came back and closed beneath the level. And then invariably you can see that the trade took us all the way down to this level. That was the level that the week opened up. Okay, that was the level the week opened up. And so we were able to get a nice, good, I think it was about 2.4 R to 1 trade on there. And that was very nice. Okay, so it is, as I said, it's high probability and it works very nicely. The challenge is you have to monitor the markets. Okay, this happened later on. This happened in particular into the US session. Okay, which normally it's rare. Normally it will happen during Asian and London, but sometimes that's where you just have to wait. And as I said, no trading thing is perfect. It's about could you build a routine, a checklist that allows you to do this. Another example here, okay, so this was Euro Sterling, okay, something I trade a great deal. Here's the start of the week here, okay, and what we have here is, the first candle completes, and we're looking for, last week's down fractal, which just so happened to also be a support level, last week's up fractal, last up fractal, which also is just this level here. And then what you can see here is, okay, that when we go down to the 30-minute chart, that's where we created it. And you can see there was lots of fractals there coming into it, even over the Asian session, lots of fractals there. And then what we started to see here as we came into the European session, we had a little bit of a doji candle, which fell away. Then we had not one, but two bearish pin bars, which were false breakouts before price basically worked its way down nicely, okay, and worked its way down. And what do we have here? Worked its way. That was the opening of the week. And you can see there we worked our way, bosh, all the way down to there. Okay, so a nice, it was over 2-to-1 trade, all right. But that's what we're looking for, all right. That's what we're particularly looking for. Nice simple setups like that we can work with, and we're just combining, a weekly open with the 4-hour fractals with the intraday reversal. So it's a multi-time frame, but it is you're quite clear what you're looking to do on each time frame. Weekly, you're just looking to identify the open and project it forward. The 4-hour, once the first candle is complete, you're looking for the last up fractal and last down fractal, and project that forward. And then you're looking for basically the price on the lower time frame once it gets to those levels. How does it go? And in this case, where it gives you a very clear, right, a very clear reversal setup, that is what we are particularly looking to trade and achieve. That's what we're looking to work with. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So before we switch to the live charts, okay, just a reminder to conclude: Monday Market Matters is here to support you through the year. Every Monday, 2:00 London time, there'll be news, there'll be education, active trades, tools, and look at the markets. You've heard me say it, all right. It has been an interesting year in markets, and I think it's going to be an interesting last few weeks for us. When we look at what we've covered today, markets are chaotic systems with complex dynamics, and Bill Williams explains in his book Chaos Theory, explains that, and also how to apply it in markets. What we're utilizing fractals as the first dimension of technical analysis. Okay, fractals, they can be used for identifying significant levels and zones, supporting trends, trailing stops. You can also use them as a way to trade in trends, and also use fractals to create a start of the week reversal setup, which is what we've just looked at. There. Okay. So even just, as I said, a simple thing like a fractal can be used in lots of different ways to help you on your trading journey. So with that in mind, let's have a little look on the live markets for today. Beforehand, just the last thing, just to remember that, Monday, next session, 2nd December, Monday Market Matters. Next week, what we're going to focus on for education is how to add to our trades. How do we go from taking a trade to building a position? That's what we'll be looking at there. And as always, as I mentioned, okay, not only do we have the webinar archive on the ActivTrades platform, but also on YouTube. ActivTrades have their own channel, and what we find is that our sessions here, they will be basically sort of rolled out on there as well. So if you want to see this again, or if you want to watch previous sessions to get some of the education elements, well then by all means you can make sure that you look for ActivTrades, sign up and subscribe to our videos there. And if you've got any questions or comments or any feedback or thoughts or topics that you'd like to see me cover in the future, you can get in touch with ActivTrades there, okay? You've got the English desk number on there, or probably easier, you can email englishdesk@activetrades.com and they'll be very happy to help guide you. Now, if you'll just bear with me a moment, what we'll do is we'll switch across to the live charts, have a look at how the US markets have opened, have a little look at how market fractals started this week, and we'll take a little look at that. So just bear with me one moment, and we will switch across. Okay, so I'm hoping you can still hear me. I'm hoping you can see the charts here. So this is a profile I have for the for the US dollar. Okay, so I've got here the dollar index here. I've got Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, Euro dollar, dollar Canadian, cable, pound against dollar, dollar against yen, dollar against Swiss franc. So it's it gives me an indication of what's the dollar doing, and when I can utilize that as part of my analysis in terms of where I want to focus my own time, energy, and resources. So let's clear that down. Interesting. Let's do it as if I was doing my normal analysis here. So this is the dollar index chart. You can see here, this is the weekly chart, the dollar index, and it has just really hammered its way north, hasn't it? That is just dollar strength there, okay? Ever since the sort of end of September, the last 2 months, it's just been one-way traffic. However, if we look at this week, we started with a gap down this week, which is a whole different trading idea as well, which we might talk about in a future session. But we gapped down. And a lot of that is to do with Mr. Trump putting forward, I think it's Mr. Besant as his Treasury Secretary. I think he's a hedge fund guy and stuff as well, and how that affected markets. And what we saw with that was a little bit of a taking the wind out of the sails of dollar strength. That's what we've seen there. And so if I just go down to the charts here, so we're on the daily chart. This was Friday's, and we can see that actually price was rallying up, but you can see even Friday we started to drift our way down there. Okay, so just keep that in mind. 4-hour chart. This was kind of a interesting for us in the sense of here we go. Remember what we were talking about here. This is where we finished. This is where we kind of finished here on Friday, and then this is where we opened, okay, on the electronic contract. Remember, what we want to do is to just basically, where we open, we want to project that open there, What we also want to do is just, also just once it's complete, look at the last fractals. Now, of course, in this case, that fractal was also the previous week's high, but we also had a fractal here as well. Okay, so I don't generally tend to trade the dollar index. I know some people do. I tend to just use it for analysis and then take the trades on the other major currencies. But this morning, what we looked at is actually what we can see is, we opened into that level, and and actually, we were kind of, the fractal was also the same price as the open there, which is kind of an interesting, intriguing one for us. Here we actually looked to try and go up and fill the gap here, and then fell down. So we've certainly had a bit of a bearish start to the week on the dollar, and then you're looking at, well, actually, how, if it's a bearish start on the dollar on the week, that must mean that the majors must be rising above it. How does that look for not only as analysis but also for our own trading setups and ideas? So if we have a little look at, for example, dollar yen. Okay, so what we can see is last week. Okay, last week was is an inside bar. It's an indecision candle. All right, that in itself is kind of giving us some indication that maybe the dollar strength is coming to a little bit of an end, or at least taking a breather. And we could see that kind of Friday we were starting to roll our way down a bit after the key reversal later on. If we go down to look at the 4-hour charts, well, remember what we're looking at here is we're always sort of just trying to look and understand, well, where did we open? Project that forward. Where were the kind of fractals of the week? We've got one here, but I'm also looking at one here. Okay, but it's there's not really anything there between the open and the fractal. And what I'm actually more intrigued in is gosh, what do we hear? This this is the kind of the next lowest fractal, which was a kind of the gave us some distance. And if I go down to the chart here, actually there we go. Yeah, if we go down to the charts, the 30-minute charts. So what we had here was this is where we closed. This is where we opened, and there's a gap. And then what we saw was price came down to the fractal levels. Okay, price came down to this first fractal level, and then in this case we came down to that fractal level, and then we reversed here. And we've gone past it a little bit, but there is a reversal here. Remember, I'm looking for a move back up to, in this case, back up to the open of the week, which was just not a huge move, but it's basically dollar yen and stuff. So it was a 30 pip move there. Okay, from around about 153.80 up to 154.12. So with spreads and stuff, there's about 30 pip move there, which is a perfectly good start to the week. And as I said, you can see that there was a reversal happening there. Now, I appreciate I didn't trade this morning because this happened during the Asian session. Okay, I only come in around about here. But for those of you who are in Asian session, that Asian session traders, that was a great setup. Once we'd broken those fractals, we kind of reversed back up towards the opening of the week, and I think we probably put in that reversal there because of the move by the gaps. Sunday night gaps are nowhere near as regular as they used to be about 10 years or so ago. But what we're looking to see is, well, actually, did it just push down? Okay, did it break, and then did it reverse nicely and give us an opportunity to trade back towards the opening of the week? And that's where that showed us there. Where else? Let's have a little look. Who else is there? So maybe dollar Canadian. Let's have a look at next dollar Canadian next. So bang, dollar Canadian. Yeah, once again, we had the gap. Okay, we've had the gap there. Okay, quite a considerable gap there. But remember, what we're looking for is, just project where it opened on the week, just to give us a bit of an idea. And then we are looking, right, well, where was the last up fractal? Where was the last? I'll be looking at a down fractal. And then, I'll be looking at, quite a few of the turnarounds happened during the Asian session here. That's what we've looked at there. Yeah, so if I look at, so here we go. I'm going to the hourly chart here. This is where we closed on Friday. All right. This is where we opened on Sunday. This was the kind of the brown level here is the fractal. We've come down to it. And then as you can probably see, we've turned around there. Okay. We've turned around. And, if you're once again, if you're an Asian session trader, that's a great trade. Okay, it worked its way back up to the open. It actually went higher because it wanted to fill the gap. You can see it actually went and filled the gap there very nicely. but I appreciate because of the gap, it happened. The reversal happened earlier than maybe we would have liked. But the whole idea is about it's the concept. Really, does the concept work? Do we get basically a puncture of the previous fractals, and do we reverse off that? It's the first time we touch it. Does it reverse and come back up towards either that week or a 2-to-1 trade? And it achieved both of those. It hit the weekly open and also a 2-to-1 trade there and stuff. And that's that's the kind of trade setup we're particularly looking at. It's just because I'm showing you what happened today and stuff as well, and it's, as I said, a little bit different from the gaps there. They've kind of created that sort of intrigue there. The 4-hour chart is kind of an interesting one here on euro dollar, from where we opened and from where the fractals were. I think we probably maybe a little bit too close, but it certainly broke it. So we've opened there, we've pushed up into it, and then we've reversed right. Reversed right off it straight there. Okay, which gives the 5-minute charts. That's where it's a twin tweezers there, false breakout there, and moved its way back. But the thing I'll be looking at there is that's right into the start of the session, and there's about 15 pips, a 15 pip move there. Okay, so what we're actually in an ideal world, what I'd like to see is that actually around the end of the Asian session, start of the London session is the ideal. I think it's just because the gaps here have just basically thrown us out. So we just wanted to look at the very live sessions for us today. So so just a few examples there. Okay, just from looking exactly what I had said, it's there is normally one setup every week, etc. And I'm just looking there, just a few of the dollar pairs. Okay, if looked at some of the sterling or euro pairs, etc., you'd find examples there and stuff. And so, the gaps have altered the price action there, but that also provides opportunity. All right, let's finish with a few minutes with looking at how the US markets have opened. All right, let's have a little look and see what's the score. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's start with the Dow and Bosch. You can see the weekly chart is still very bullish, and actually we can see the last few days of last week on the daily chart there was a lovely turnaround here, and we've gone very bullish there again. Even the 4-hour chart here, we can see that actually we've had a gap there. This was, as I said, the response to Trump's Treasury Secretary pick. That has kind of put the kind of bullish, everyone's gone a little bit bullish there, and so we're looking to see, well, how have we opened? What are we looking at? So I'm always interested in the kind of sort of some of the levels there that we've worked at. And let's have a little look down. It's Bosch. There we go. This is the first 15 minutes there. So I'm just looking at it there, just looking at that kind of range for the open. Kind of a bullish open there. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart. So those of you who join me, I will say I always give the first 15 minutes a miss of the US Open anyway, especially on a Monday. As you've seen, if there is political shenanigans over the weekend, that can have an impact on how markets open. And to me, that looks as well within its range there. Okay, at the moment, if I just let me have a look at the 1-minute chart. Yeah, it popped up there, but if I look at that for minute 3.9, and where we are minute 5.6. So we've had nearly 20 minutes of just going in a range on the Dow. So we bounced off the 50. I would be expecting us to go more towards the 15-minute, this edge. Okay, on the 15-minute, that's what I'd be looking at, folks. That myself. Whilst that sets itself up, let's have a little look at Nasdaq. So they've done pretty much the same as the FX pairs. It's been in a trend. The weekly chart gapped up. Okay, the electronic contract having had a really bullish week. Okay, bullish end of the week. We've gapped up there. Those 4-hour charts there. Gapped up there. You can see that's the 4-hour, 30-minute chart. Just looking at what are the kind of highs and lows prior to the session, whether they turn into particular levels for us that we can be interested in. Yeah, I'd say there we go. That's it. Let's have a look at the 15-minute opening range. There was quite a wide 15-minute opening range. Right, whereas the Dow is holding up, you can see the Nasdaq is already popping its way down there to the lows. Yeah, there's the first few candles. Okay, popped up and then reversed, and we're down here. Let me just zoom out here. So Yeah, I'll be looking at that. Is the kind of low of the day so far. That was earlier in the European session. I'll be looking to see if this is gonna hold, or is this going to reverse off here at the moment. It's a bit too early to tell. The price action isn't telling me complete at the moment. I'll be watching this as we go into the next hour, looking at where it's at its edge. Certainly when it popped up here, okay, you can see what now that 15. We did a nice double top there, and then we rolled over. We've rolled over and fallen away, but now we've got an inside pin bar. So I'll be looking to see do we go bullish here? Do we work our way back up to that 200 period moving average? So yeah, it's kind of what it's. I'm always curious when Nasdaq is basically is going down. DAX Dow is going sideways. Okay, the S&P looks like it's indescript. Well, the Russell doesn't look like it's got anything going on there at the moment. So it's a little bit of a when they're all doing their own thing. That's something that I'm not saying you can't trade, but it's you just need to be on top of watching those charts. Okay, I would probably be yeah, I would be looking to, at the moment, looking at that, okay, I'd be looking at I'd be bullish Nasdaq back up to at least the sort of that 200 level area. Dow, I think Dow just seems to be in a bit of a range, doesn't it? Just seem to be in a bit of a range. That's what I would just basically keep an eye on that. Okay, it's a bit of it's an interesting week, and it's an interesting open to the week. I don't think there's any real clarity I see there happening on those particular charts at the moment. So it'd be a case of watch and shoot into the next hour to see if that gives us some clarity that we could trade upon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, as I say, all good things have to come to an end. All right, time flies when you're having fun, and we've sort of run out of time for our session here today. I hope that you have found that useful. I hope that's given you some insight into how we can utilize fractals, what they are, how we could utilize them in not only in our analysis, but also in trend trading and also in reversal trading on an intraday basis. So. As always, I hope that's something you can take away and start to utilize and think about in your own trading. As always, I wish you the very best of success in your own trading, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great trading week, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.